Welcome to Friday Beyond Spotlights, where we invite leading minds and game changers with incomparable experience and unique knowledge to come on a light-hearted yet informative show. We aim to help business leaders and the wider community gain insights, grasp opportunities, and see behind and beyond spotlights, so we can get the full picture, dream bigger, and achieve more together. I am your host for this episode. My name is Nick Chen, a lawyer and lawmaker. Friday Beyond Spotlights is honored and pleased to present to you our guest today, textile industrialist, the Honorable Sunny Tan, elected member of the Legislative Council representing the textiles and garment functional constituency. He's also chairman of the Hong Kong Productivity Council, executive deputy chairman of the Federation of Hong Kong Industries, and senior advisor of a leading apparel and accessories manufacturer, Luen Thai Holdings Limited. They produce 74 million garments a year. May I call you Sunny?
Yes, please.
Sunny, welcome onto the show.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you.
Sunny, Hong Kong is known to be a textile and apparels production and global sourcing powerhouse. How did we get there, and where do we go next?
We start to have the textile garment business back in the 50s, 60s, where a lot of Chinese came from Shanghai, from Guangdong. They brought in capital, they brought in their expertise to start building the textile and apparel. That sets the foundation for us. We move into 70s, 80s, 90s. We are booming with a lot of production out from Hong Kong, but at the same time, because of the quota system globally, our industry start looking overseas for different production countries. And in the 80s, 90s, they also start looking into China to start with. So that was the period where we've been really blooming in different aspects.
What kind of quota is it?
When we go into the year of 2000, if you remember, there was a time China joining WTO. So not only that we are expanding overseas, but we've been very aggressive in growing our China. China in terms of export, China in terms of servicing its own demand. And we've been doing very well because there's no more quota at that time. But at the same time, China has been also going through its own rapid growth. The minimum wage has been slowly going up, which caused us to go back to overseas. Right. So our Hong Kong businessmen in textile and apparel, we have been playing a very significant, very important role throughout these times.
Sunny, you talked about the global quota. What is it?
Back in the 60s, and more importantly in the 70s, the Europe and US, they imposed certain quota restrictions, whereas they limit the number of units of garments being exported from any particular country. So it could be from China, from Hong Kong, Philippines, Southeast Asia. So every country will have a preset quota. And we as a Hong Kong businessman, what we've been trying to do is to find where quota is available and we build the factory and to ship the goods.
I see. But whilst it looks fair, I mean, if back in the days, most of the garments are made in a few selected countries, then what looks like a fair system isn't necessarily, fair to everybody. Is that how you see it?
I would say at that time it's not being fair, but I think there must be a certain political motive in setting up a quota system. But in a more economic environment, if we look at it, the order should go to where the price is the lowest.
Right.
And at that time, it could be some developing country, it could be including China. But then during that time, China doesn't have a big growth at that time because it's bounded by the limitation of the quota system.
I see. Sunny, may I ask you to illustrate the stories you share about the evolution of the industry?
We all have very strong entrepreneurial spirit. And as I said, during that time, quota has been limited our growth. So what we are trying to do is to go into different countries, including places that we might not have heard of, but we will find places that we will be able to make garments at the right price. Right. But to overcome the challenge, we need to know how to adopt the latest technology. It keeps our industry growing under the hands of our Hong Kong businessmen.
I remember having the joy of visiting the magic show. It's not about rabbit out of the hat kind of magic show, but that I understand that to be one of the leading textile apparel's important trade conference.
True. Magic show is one of the biggest show in the United States for our textile and garments, where buyers, sellers, and brands, we all meet. This is a very important show for all of us. The problem is our industry traditionally has become very inefficient. think about just starting with quota.
Yes.
Because we are not sourcing based on the most efficient factory or the cheapest country to make, but there could be different consideration in placing an order. So all these things are accumulating a lot of inefficiency in the entire supply chain. But at the same time, lack of data because of lead time and also because the industry requires us to go through multiple parties, from the factory to the brand to the retailer, we are losing data to decide what is selling and what is not selling. Maybe take my shirt as an example. How do we decide what are the type of colors that we want to buy, right? From the white to the blue to the pink to the stripe, right? But then we do not have enough data points back at the time when we place the order to the time that the retail actually happened. So what happened was the white one maybe it sells very well, but it runs out of stock. And the blue one maybe it's not selling well and you could end up selling at discount. So there's a lot of inefficiencies happening, and all these can be addressed by technology. Now we are going through what we call the Industry 4.0, right? And Industry 4.0 involves a lot of data. So what we're trying to achieve is to have the entire supply chain communicate along with all the data points. So for example, if we are able to shorten our production lead time to have the decision in making the garment closer to the time the piece of garment really actually gets sold, we will be able to channel the consumer behavior closer to the market to decide what color to make, what style to make. And it will eliminate a lot of unwanted, unnecessary inventory. And also, we don't need to have so much discount. And when we don't need to go through so much discount, it also means that our brands and retailers would not need to mark up so high.
I mean, you talked about sourcing components from, fabric from different parts of the world. Are you using blockchain or some other technology to, help when the authorities want to check where they came from? How do you prove that it came from a certain place?
But what I understand is blockchain technology has been looked into, for example, for the fabric origin, and also another example would be for fur, right? So all these are in application, and I'm seeing a lot of awareness and people working together now.
You talked about country of origin. So there are rules about countries of origin, as I understand. But I also understand the rules are being rewritten somewhat by the likes of RCEP. 15 countries, and Hong Kong will still join on as an economy to RCEP. How would that change how you produce garments going forward?
I think RCEP is a very good framework and arrangement for us because we are part of a bigger economy, and we will be able to freely move around to do business and be partner with where the country that we want to do business with the growing market of, let's say, the Southeast Asia as well as China, our mother country. It poses a great opportunity for all of us.
In terms of smart fabric, can you tell us more about that?
Smart fabric, or sometimes we call some more innovative fabric or functional fabric that we talk about. In fact, Hong Kong, we have an organization called the Hong Kong Research Institute for Textile and Apparel. It's funded by the government, but also closely working with our industries. We work into a lot of areas of functional garments. It could be water repellent, it could be antibacterial, antiviral. We also build the technology to make garments for athletes. So all these things are happening in Hong Kong. We are not only good at making garments or textile, but we are also leaders in terms of researching functional fabric.
Sunny, textile and apparels is a necessity for our daily living. But for some people, it's also a great way to express yourselves and make a statement. Are you seeing more brand origination from Asia? And what are we doing about it?
I would say Hong Kong has a great opportunity in this area. One important aspect to make it successful is that we need to use our own strength in Hong Kong to make it happen. So what is the strength? The strength is what I said. We use our factory-based, OEM-based byproduct. We can come up with the best sweaters. It could be fur, it could be lingerie, it could be caps, jackets. We have all specialties in this area. We just need to have them partner with our talented designers to come up with something that our consumer really wants, partly because of design, but another part is really because there's a functional need to address the pain point, the preference of what the consumer really wants. And the last point really, it's we need to know where's the market. Of course, we have the traditional European and US market, but then we have our huge China middle class that has not been tapped into it so much. It poses a great opportunity for all of us.
Sunny, could you share some advice for young people who wish to enter into this industry, whether as a designer or otherwise?
Our industry has so much opportunities. For our young people in Hong Kong to join, to be part of it, number one is passion. You got to love what you do because you will be with the piece of garment day in and day out. Second part is our young people, they got to have the courage to take risks. They're young, so take risks, come in and be part of it. Okay, it's not easy, but I'm sure you will find the positive impact to us.
Thank you, Sunny. We'll be back after the break. Welcome back to Friday Beyond Spotlights. We have with us today textile industrialist, the Honorable Sunny Tan, elected member of the Legislative Council representing the textiles and garment functional constituency. Who is Sunny Tan behind the spotlights? Who or what defining moments in his life shaped him into who he is today? In this show and tell segment, we shall go behind and beyond glaring spotlights. As our special guest today, Sunny shows us an item that has a special meaning in his life, shaping him into who he is today. Sunny, what have you brought in today to show us?
Let me show you this. This is what we call, in Chinese, we call 家分. 家分, it means, if I translate it, it's like family discipline. Yes. It reflects the kind of family values that we should all live up to. This is very important. My dad wrote it back in 1985. It says 1985 January. So it's been here for a long time. And this is where we look up to when we are going through different, especially difficult time. What kind of values that we want to live up to? What kind of values that we want to leave to our children? Yes. How do we manage our family, our household? It's all in here. So maybe I pick on a few examples here.
Yes.
Right? So the first one, 忠诚取塞, 忠诚处事. It means we got to live with honesty and integrity. Yes. In dealing with maybe myself, my own self, our family members, or even my business partner, friends, right? So this is very important. That's why it's number one. And number two is like 勤儉持家, 勤儉持家. It means that we got to work hard, we got to save, we should not be overspending, we got to keep our financial well. I mean, usually we say, don't spend or be beyond our mean, right? We should not be defined by the money that we spend, right? 持家乞丐 means we're going to manage the household. Okay, so to us, family is very, very important.
Do you wash the dishes at home?
Oh, yes, I got this is my job. And of course, here 孝顺父母, okay, 孝顺父母, 兄友弟恭. All this is about how we deal with our parents, our siblings. So the Chinese way of the piety is very, very important to us. We got to know how we should respect our family, especially my parents, my siblings, and that's how we're going to teach our kids about this kind of very basic traditional Chinese values. And
Off the top.
And of course, and like let's say, okay, 同心合力共創企業, 同心合力共創基業. We all work together. Okay, so it's a teamwork. It's not individual, it's a teamwork. That's how we build our family business. 共創基業. We really built it together from my dad onward to us being the second generation and also our third generation. We have some members already in our family business working together. So 共創基業 really, we work together as a business empire. And next one, 服務社會，服務社會，顯祖榮中，顯祖榮中。We got to service our community, our society, give back to our society where we live. So, and that's also why I'm serving as a legislative council member. The family supported me, believing that this is the right thing to do. This is important that we should service our society, Hong Kong. This is our community. This is our home.
Sunny, you are a very successful industrialist, businessman, and as a family working closely together, you guys have ventured very successfully into running not just a textile garment business. You're also into real estate, into hotel, into insurance, fishing. For you to put all that behind, what made you being willing to decide to go into politics?
First of all, I would say I'm very, very honored that I have this opportunity to serve as the member of Legislative Council. In the past 10, 20 years, I've been involved in serving the public in terms of some NGOs to some government committees, advisory board. So to a certain extent, I had some experience in terms of how the government works, how the Hong Kong community or the business world works in general. And now it comes to 2019, 2020, we have gone through a very big change in Hong Kong, which is very, very positive, which is passing of our national security law, as well as the reform of our overall electoral system. Okay, this gives a tremendous support from the central government to have the great start again for Hong Kong for the next 25 years.
Yes.
So I would say that, okay, if not now, when?
Right.
Okay,
right.
If giving this opportunity, why not? Okay, I feel very privileged that I get this opportunity to participate, to be part of it, to go through this election. And at that time, what I would remember is don't think too much. If we believe Hong Kong is the good place, right place, and this is my home, then I should be wholeheartedly participate, be part of this election and see how it goes. It's such a great and wonderful experience. It's not easy, but I would say that I feel very honored that not only myself, but on behalf of my family too, that I'm here to serve Hong Kong.
Your friends all know you have a great sunshine personality, but has it always been sunshine and rainbows for you your whole life?
God is very fair to us. I'm sure we all have our own fair share of challenge and difficult time. The thing is, when we go through that process, when we're facing those challenge and difficult time, do we have the right attitude? And I think, again, back to our family values, that shapes our values, views, decision-making, and character. All these things is supporting us. And my family is also supporting me. I married my wife. Now we are together, two of us going through it together. That also make it, I would say, a little bit easier. Of course, we're going to help each other out.
You're a very lucky man.
Oh, definitely.
Sunny, as we reflect on the past, introspectively look at how Hong Kong or the world is today, and as we gaze into the future, what does the future hold for us?
Every city, like Hong Kong, will be going through a different phase of development, change to the next phase. And we've been successful in going through those phases. And now we're just going through the next phase. So what we can see is Hong Kong can continue and will continue to leverage its one country, two system advantage, because we are having our China, our own country, behind us in supporting us, but we are also facing the international market where Hong Kong has been very strong in playing that game. Together with the latest one, which is the INT, innovation and technology, that is the way where Hong Kong will grow. And we need a lot of talents. And I'm sure that we together with our younger generation will be able to develop this opportunity into something that is good for all of us.
Thank you, Sunny. We're going to now go up close and personal with Sunny. We're going to ask him some rapid fire questions, maybe find out some answers that maybe his wife don't even know. Are you ready, Sunny?
Yes.
What is your favorite sport?
I like playing badminton,
Comfort food?
instant noodle.
Last book you've read?
It's a Chinese book. If I translate it, it's The Other Side of the United States.
Your first job?
Investment banking.
Name a person whom you admire the most.
I would say that would be my dad.
Your favorite place in Hong Kong to bring guests to?
I would say now is the Kowloon Western District. We have all the museums.
Your favorite restaurant?
Of course, my wife's restaurant, Maisoness.
Talent you wish you had?
Really the guitar. I think I lack kind of the music and the art side of myself.
What is the nicest thing someone has said to you?
I would say my wife said, I do to me.
What was the last thing you searched online?
Holiday travel,
What would be the title of your autobiography?
serving the country, serving Hong Kong.
Qualities you admire most about your parents?
It's about unconditional love.
What is your biggest fear?
Not knowing whether I have tried my best, done enough.
What advice would you give to your younger self?
Work harder, take more risks.
What legacy do you wish to leave behind?
I hope I will be able to be seen as somebody who's part of this big project in bringing Hong Kong to the next phase, especially to our younger generation.
How will Hong Kong look in 5 years?
With all these opportunities ahead of us, with the support of our motherland, China, I would say that it's just a matter of whether we're willing to do it or not. Definitely, it would be much better.
Thank you, Sunny. Sunny, could you please share with us your well wishes or suggestions for Hong Kong?
For Hong Kong, we all should work together as a team. Hard work, I'm sure. We all, with our Lion Rock spirit, we will have a better future.
Well, thank you all for joining Friday Beyond Spotlights. We'll see you next time.
This is what we call a G2G recycle process.
Right.
What we do is we take our used sweaters, clothes, and we bring it to this G2G center. Basically, we bring the used clothes and we try to process it, including we sanitize it, we really open it, make it loose, we clean it, and we really process back from a piece of garment back into yarn. And
Right.
we knit it back to a piece of nice garment that
Uh-huh.
we can wear.
Right.
So this is really complete the look. That's why we call it G2G.
Garment to garment.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Remember you sent me some outgrown children clothing?
Yes.
This is the product.
Oh,
This is the G2G product.
wow. To keep them warm when they study overseas.
And you have the sentimental value.
Yes.
And it's very environmental.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Sunny.